Hi, I'm Sam, and I'm here with Usama and Estelle for Bits. Welcome back. In our last episode, we talked about the collision coming. Millions of baby boomers retiring while companies refuse to train the graduates that could replace them. Today, we're looking at what happens when a company actually decides to solve this problem instead of ignoring it. Usama and I talked about the gap in our last episode, the gap between what universities teach and what companies actually need to get someone productive. Estelle, you went through a version of this not too long ago. What was your view of the gap from your side?
Thanks, Sam. So, from my side, the gap isn't just between what universities teach and what companies need. It's also between what students think they want to do and where the real value is in the market. For example, we've been expanding our internship program in areas like computer science, AI engineering, and also sales and marketing. Not long ago, we were interviewing someone who was really interested in learning UI and front end development. And while that can be interesting work, we felt it might not be the smartest decision right now. Today, a lot of the value isn't necessarily in building interfaces. Many companies outsource that work or use existing tools. The real value, especially at the moment, is in areas like machine learning, people who can work with data, build models, and actually create intelligent systems. Luckily, at CrossRealms, our interns have the flexibility to learn based on their strength, their interests, and our projects, and Usama can talk more about how that works in practice.
Awesome. Thanks, Estelle. So, Usama, from the company side, what's been the hardest part about actually starting this internship and training program?
Hello, Sam, Estelle, and everyone. The hardest thing for us was building the program. For instance, figuring out uh, what the interns will learn week one, two, three, four, etc. What kind of exams and certifications they should pursue, what kind of projects they work on. And unless that's all set from the beginning, it's very hard for them to onboard and learn without that clarity. At the same time, there's another problem where if you are very rigid in the program, then you miss out on the innovation that these interns can bring from day one. And so somehow you have to create a program that's flexible enough and rigid enough to allow them to know what they have to do, and at the same time allow them to express themselves and come up with different solutions and better ideas.
I've noticed that there's also a gap in how structure is used across different company sizes. At a larger company, like where I was at before joining CrossRealms, you tend to be more compartmentalized and you're doing just a piece of the project. You go deep in one area, but you don't really see the bigger picture. At a smaller company, you wear multiple hats and you're forced to see how everything connects. You have more responsibility across the board. So, Usama, you guys have been working on this program for a while. Can you share some of the highlights of this experience?
I believe the most important thing to learn during an internship is how to get things done. In spite of your fellow team members, in spite of the difficulties, the scheduling, the certifications, the learning, the project itself, can you somehow manage to get things done? And that's going to differentiate you from the rest. So my best advice to everyone out there, if you're doing an internship or you're starting your career, learn how to get things done. Don't worry about the distractions and what's happening. Just focus on getting things done.
Thanks, Usama. Before we end, Estelle, do you have any advice for our viewers?
I do actually. So, if there's something I want students to remember from this conversation, is that you'll always have choices. No, you don't always have choices. Sorry.
All right, take two. Thanks, Usama. Before we end, Estelle, do you have any advice for our viewers?
I do. So, at times, you'll have choices with your career, and my advice is just to make sure that you're going with the market and not against it. Also, on a personal side note, and reflecting on some of Usama's words on getting things done, I personally DJ on the weekends at different venues in my town, and I think one of the major differences that I have with potential other DJs is that I really do say yes to a lot of opportunities that are opening up the doors for even more gigs, venue, and other people listening to me. And that's really how you get things done.
Gotta be a go-getter. Well, thanks so much, Estelle, and thanks, Usama. Thanks to our listeners. We'll see you next time on Bits.